Good day to you, partner. I'm Guy, and I can already tell that I'll be your best friend in this forsaken camp.
In death, a member of Project Mayhem has a name. His name is
Brian Carlson.
His name is
Brian Carlson.
His name is
Brian
Robert
Carlson.
His name is
Brian
Robert
Carlson.
Come on, guys, please, stop it.
Brian Carlson.
His name is
Brian Carlson.
His name is
Brian Carlson. Brian Carlson.
His name is
Brian Carlson.
His name is
Brian Carlson. Hey guys, Wheat Solo here, aka the Skeleton King. Topwug might finally be over his issues with Brian Carlson. They actually made up. They're going on a little bro date. They're gonna have some brunch, and from there they're gonna go and see the Toronto Maple Leafs play a game. It's gonna be a nice time for everyone involved. As you can see, this map has shit mods. I didn't even notice. I had to redo this audio. I don't redo audio much, mainly because I don't know, don't have the free time, don't monetize videos, etc. You know, you get what you get. But I was looking up information about cast speed animations, and then I re-looked at these mods, and I was pretty surprised how bad they actually are. So first, let's go into how bad Stygian dolls are. Now, the game has been modified quite a bit since its earlier seasons. There was one point where succubus witches were basically an instant death for basically any character in the game. There would just be no reason to run a map with witches. They were a nightmare. They've been severely nerfed to the point where you could argue they're actually a good mod to have on a map. Being amped is never nice, but it's really not that big of a deal. As you can see, Topwug actually has no issue with the Mad Philosopher. The Mad Philosopher was nerfed this season, so although he still maybe is overtuned, he is nerfed. When I said he gave me nightmares, he's basically been nerfed since that point. He's much easier. Now, the other mods in this map, like -4 to all max resistances, is actually a really big deal. Now, when I was first watching this, I said Topwug should probably have more vitality and less points into energy for his bone armor. That might still be true, but it's really hard for me to say that when his resistances are literally under 75. If you're going to run a max energy build, especially around 1000 health, which is on the low spectrum of things, it can work, mind you. You really want to be at 75, if not 77 or 79. Basically having one piece of gear with, he almost dies right there. He almost dies a few times in this map. It's actually gnarly. One or two pieces with a max res core basically will make 1000 health completely fine, especially if you have one wisp as well. Now, I don't think Poison will have the room for that corruption. It depends on later on if you start to get some Rathma or D-clone gear, then you definitely could run one or two max res cores and probably still do 125 FCR and do T3s in a manageable time. By the way, that's a men down event, so Brian Carlson, if you're watching, I hope you can give Topwug a break. He is not going to sit there for, what, another 2 minutes and let it finish? So, you know, let the man have some breathing room, okay? You guys can talk it over your mimosas, all right? I don't know what they drink in Canada. Probably maple syrup mimosas or something. That sounds disgusting. So I actually think this map is, like, pretty close to complete dog shit. Now, the Stygian dolls, yes, they've been nerfed, but just the fact he has -4 to all res, minus hit recovery, it kind of means he's going to be put into hit recovery way more than he should be as an energy bone armor necro, and then he's going to be taking more elemental damage, so it's kind of going to like stack on top of each other, where it doesn't matter what happens first, but just the fact that there's negative res, negative hit recovery, and dolls, he's going to do the map slower and more dangerously. But as you can see, for a map with pretty shitty mods, I think he's doing it pretty well and pretty fast. So if anyone's watching this and says this is a hardcore only build, you're kidding yourself. Could you run 125 FCR in hardcore? Man, I doubt they're going to have the gear. As you just saw right there, Lure Resist procced. That's actually a nice little side note about, I believe, Plague, the rune word. He's running an Act 3 Cold Merc for Prayer. Also, the Cold Merc has solid CC, but he's mainly for the Prayer, which just gives him some life regen. And then, of course, you can put a Plague and a Scepter. And then that Plague is going to give him Cleansing, so it'll help him with Poison and slightly reduce CDR, or slightly reduce Curse durations. I'm sorry, that wasn't the right way to say it. And then on the shield, he's going to have a Shattered Wall. So basically, he's really, really crowd control. For a map like this, if he didn't have all of these gears on, he might be dead. Now, would Defiance help? Yes. Is Defiance the right way to go? Well, Exile's been really nerfed, so I don't think so. Most of the Necros have kind of seemed to have given up on Exile and are just running Shattered Wall. I'm still a Defiance guy, but the early levels of Defiance give a very small bonus to defense. I think now an Exile Aura would give you like 60% defense. It's a lot lower than it used to be, basically. Now he's going to do the full clear. He's going to show you that he did kill almost every enemy in the map. I think there's going to be a couple of 25 high runes for 3 OS Rattle Cage. Huh. Anyways, sorry, some little trading going on. You know how that is. Kind of comes up. So I think there's a couple of champs and elites left alive, and a very small spattering of monsters. And then don't freak out, Brian. This is the Mendon event, and he's going to finish it. Why? Mendon, I actually think, gives a noticeable, nice chunk of experience, even if he takes a while. And you might get a little Jawbone or Splinter, and it's like, you know, why not as a declone Rathma farmer? The build's looking good, but anybody watching this, more importantly than anything I've said, Blood Warp has issues, and the reason I've re-recorded this audio is I was trying to talk about how Necrocast animations work, and it turns out that Necros actually have among the worst cast animations in the game. Now, side note, Zon is the worst. There's no argument. But I was looking up this thing that Teo wrote, and literally he's the GOAT of Diablo 2, okay? And there's basically several instances in a cast animation, okay? There's the startup, there's the actual casting, and then there's the time when the animation is finished, so the warp is completed, but you can't do anything else. The problem with Blood Warp is, although it's a 0 CD teleport, it costs life, and Necromancers have some weird issues when it comes to their casting animation, and then basically the beginning, it's a little slow. Like, Druids, funny enough, seem to actually have better animations than a Necromancer, but they have, like, different ways that they go through it and where that bad point is. I'm going to link this article because I don't completely understand it, and I'd like somebody to explain what this article is trying to say more to me. All I know from the article is Zons suck and Sorks are broken, but I'd love some more explanation. As you can see, the shield and the wand are both out of this world good. Now, the shield is going to be much less damage than 3-piece. Well, much less. It's going to be less damage than 3-piece, but basically this allows him to run 125 FCR without some of the ridiculous double 20 FCR rings he was running last time. It kind of frees him up a bit, and the way that Poison Nova's been changed, it doesn't benefit as much from Mastery as it used to, which is weird because it's been nerfed in so many ways that you kind of need plus skills now. Mastery is still good, but basically it's like Pierce greater than skills equals greater than Mastery. Like, basically it's like skills before Mastery now until Mastery before skills. I know it's a terrible way to explain it. It's kind of just the way it is. More videos coming, guys. Skelly King out. GG.
Come and play with us, Daddy.